Hey guys, I'm back making another video. I think it's been probably about a week. My tapering video was kind of crappy. I'm sorry about that. So I'm actually gonna think about making a new one. I was just trying to show the basics, but I know a lot of people get confused. So the biggest things I wanted to talk about today are kind of a do's and don'ts. I'm not an expert. As you all know, I've only been tapering for just about a month, but I have done a lot of research, listened to people's stories, just watch videos, research, listen to people, the support group, all that kind of stuff. So obviously, by my own mistakes of, cold turkeying, or so to speak, 85% cut that I did, back a while back, had me feeling really terrible. And I think what people fail to understand about benzos is the fact that a lot of people think if they rush, we can just get it out of our system and then we can just go through whatever withdrawals, like get it over with. The biggest part about that is so not true is the fact that people are suffering even with slow tapering. So how I look at it is I wouldn't want to feel what I felt that Sunday when I had told you guys in the video about how bad, cutting out that much made me feel, and it took 4 days to hit me. I would not want to be bedridden like that this early in it. So what I'm saying is, like, I'm not doing awesome, but I'm definitely not where I was when I was cold turkeying. And I don't look at it as time, because I know we're so in a rush to hurry, like we want to be off of it, be done. But I try not to look at it like that. I try to look at it as every day is a day that I'm on to my next day of tapering. I'm not trying to rush, because my body, I know, is so dependent on this drug that the more that I force it out of me, it's just going to make things worse. I've talked to people, most of them who are, I'm not going to say most, but it seems like most who are suffering did the CT, the cold turkey, and then they actually had to reinstate themselves back on meds, kind of like what I've had to do, and then kind of not start all over, but you don't feel good. Like I said, I didn't do it but for 4 days and cut about 85% of my medicine out from, it was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So actually 3 days. And then Sunday night is when it hit me. Like, I don't mean like what I'm dealing with now. I have windows and waves where I can, breathe and have time to remind myself of where I am and, what's really going on with me and whatnot. But at that time, there was nothing. Like, I couldn't think. It wasn't my mind anymore. It wasn't my body anymore. I had literally no control compared to what I have now. So no, I don't recommend that. Like I said, I understand everybody is looking at time. They don't want to be on these drugs for 2 to 3 years. I get that. But at the same time, you have to remember you're going to be tapering regardless of what you do. You're going to have symptoms for years and years to come, but why rush it and make yourself suffer more than what you really need to be going through? Now, I'm not saying at the end of my taper that I'm not going to feel horrible, but I don't foresee that I would be as bad as I was just taking something that's been in me almost 3 years and just completely ripping it out of my body, even at an 85% cut. So I honestly don't recommend that. So I would say the first don't is don't look at the time. People like us, like we can't look at the future. We have to take each and every day as it comes to us, because if we do, we start to get anxious. We want to move ahead like everybody else. We just want to be normal. We don't want to deal with the symptoms, which there are 1,000 quadrillion symptoms of this benzo. If you didn't have anxiety before, you may have it now. If you didn't have aching through your body, you definitely have it now. So I won't get into all the symptoms. I could probably do that on another video, but what I'm saying is the first don't, I would say, is don't try to rush tapering. Don't try to rush cold turkey. Your body best. I did a 3 milliliter removal on Sunday. And actually yesterday is when I really started to feel uneasy. And then I was remembering, oh, wow, I did a cut on Sunday. So see, it takes when it takes for you to feel that. So if your body knows that there's a 1 milliliter amount of medicine missing, imagine what you're going to feel like if you're missing 85% and your body hasn't had a chance to adapt to it. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going to taper. I don't know if anybody else has done this, but I'm watering tapering. So I'm going to go from 3 in 4 weeks to go to 3.5 before I hit 4, because I feel like the slower you go, the better it is. So again, that would be my first recommendation is do not cold turkey. Do not think that because you feel fine, you are fine or it will be fine. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not a doctor. I just know what I've gone through. I know what everybody else has gone through from just their videos and just, you know, some of them didn't have a choice. Their doctors were just ripping them off these medications. And again, I don't recommend that. Like I said, slow may seem forever, but I do feel each day that I have a little bit more because I keep remembering what it was like the fourth day that it hit me when I was actually cutting all my meds out. So that's my first don't. I think the second thing would be, some people think that, you know, they can take an additional drugs, they can help with like the anxiety or maybe not so much the anxiety, but the depression that we seem to go through as these pills are either we hit our tolerance or we're, you know, trying to taper off. But now personally, again, I'm not a doctor, but I do not recommend putting something else into your body. I only say this because the fact of we're trying to cleanse everything out right now. And I'm not saying every med is horrible for you, but any SSRIs, you know, they already are mind altering. So you're kind of like mixing, you're still on a benzo with something like that. And you also don't want to have to go through another med that you're going to have to taper from later. I just feel like, you know, make the decision when everything is clear to you. Because remember, when you're in the middle of a withdrawal, I mean, any of us are ready to take anything to stop it because it's not something you want to live with. This is not how I pictured my life, to be real. 38 years old, and I have a 4-year-old with a brain tumor going through chemo. I didn't think I'd go through that. I didn't think I'd have a daughter with mental illness at 17, but I've been coping. I've been doing good. This honestly is something I never in my life thought I would ever have to go through. That I could easily say right now that I am dependent on something because if I go to remove it, it will kill me. So yeah, don't add more meds. Don't add more right now to what you already have going on. And some of us, we're on, which I'm thankful I'm not. I'm only on one med. But for those who are not, which is even sadder, like you don't need to add more. It's just, and I think that's what's happening is people are going to the doctors and going back, and doctors they're not trained to taper you from benzos or anything in that nature. I've seen people trying to taper amitriptyline, which is a sleep aid. I actually was on that last year, and I'm so glad that I actually just got off of it because I didn't know it was addictive. I had no idea. So now I'm doing natural, easy dissolve melatonin, which I'm so thankful for, or I wouldn't be sleeping and functioning even half of what I'm doing now. As you know, without sleep, yeah. So, I'm sorry, getting back on track. So yes, number 2, medications. I don't think that that's a wise idea. Again, I'm not a doctor. You do for you, but I don't want to add fuel to my fire, and I don't want to later on have to be more sick from something else that may or may not make me hit a tolerance again. And I'm just stuck where I am now. So, the other thing that people are kind of being controversial with is diet. I didn't really think it was an issue when I got sick, in the past few years. But I will tell you, I feel a difference. I'm not healed. I'm still going through withdrawal. I'm still tapering, but I can tell the difference that I'm more sensitive now to certain foods that I never was. And this is all over just a 2.5, 3 year period. So I know it's not me getting older. I know it's nothing to do with that. It's definitely the Ativan. I can't eat red meat anymore. It makes me very sick. I've come down with IBS. I am on a probiotic, and honestly, I do recommend probiotics to people because my stomach issues are so bad from Ativan. I couldn't imagine them being what they were and then dealing with withdrawal, because I probably wouldn't be leaving the bathroom or leaving my bed. So some people say no about probiotics. Honestly, they've saved me. They're the only thing not causing me crazy symptoms, and my stomach is so much better than it was. So again, that is a plus. Anything you can do that's going to make this an easier journey is a must do, except putting something else in your body that's artificial, like medicine, that's going to make you worse. So that would be my next recommendation, is seriously diet. When I say diet, I don't mean you have to lose weight, but avoid the processed foods, high carb intake. Some people were disagreeing with me in my support group, but honestly, when I eat a lot of carbs, I don't know about you guys, I don't feel so great even before I was on this med. Carbs make you hungry. And I'm not saying the good carbs. I'm talking about the starchy things, like a lot of breads, a lot of wheat, a lot of cornstarch, a lot of, that kind of stuff. I don't feel good when I eat those things anyhow. But I've noticed having anxiety and this pill giving me more anxiety than I've ever had. I feel like it just exacerbates the issues, and I don't really recommend, eating those things while you're trying to detox or trying to taper. The other thing would be caffeine. I love my coffee, but what I've noticed since I've hit tolerance, I'm on what you call half caff. It's regular coffee, half the caffeine, so I still can drink coffee. It gives me really bad anxiety if I drink too much, and it makes my stomach issues return. So it's actually reversing what my probiotics are doing. So I don't mess with that. 1 cup in the morning and one maybe during dinner time or lunchtime, if I'm feeling kind of exhausted. So that's another thing. The other thing, obviously, no drinking. I couldn't drink even being on Ativan. I could drink a glass of wine, excuse me, and I would be totally sick. So that's something that's kind of sad because I'm not an alcoholic. Although I do enjoy a glass of wine here and there, I couldn't even drink wine. And I knew something was wrong because a glass of wine should not be bothering me the way it was, when I hit tolerance. So no alcohol. Not only are you bringing yourself another form of a downer, causing more depression, you're actually causing another addiction. And obviously alcoholism is very hard to deal with on its own. Not that I've been there, but I can only imagine because, alcohol and benzos are the two things that literally can kill you. And I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm saying kill you if you're not detoxed off them right. The withdrawal symptoms can actually kill you, literally, where heroin you can come off from, I think I was reading in a couple of weeks, you can actually come down and be sober, which is so sad to say because benzos is years, literally. The same thing with alcohol. So I don't recommend drinking at all. Again, these are just do's and don'ts that I've come across, from just people's stories. I do listen to other people I've watched on YouTube, things that I've experienced that have bothered me since I've been, through this journey. Granted, it's only been about 4 weeks, but it has been about 2 years since I've been in tolerance and didn't know that I was sick from actual benzos. I thought something was I literally thought I was dying of cancer because nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. So that's another one. So like I said, the other thing is, I cannot stress this enough, is definitely lots and lots of water. This actually worked for me when I was smoking, and I quit. I didn't really, I kind of cold turkeyed. I leveled down and then I just stopped smoking. I smoked for 15 years. But water was my saint. I have a bottle even now of water, and actually I need to grab it. So I'm sorry, excuse me. Sorry, we had a little malfunction there. But yeah, so water, to be real, like I can't stress enough that water has saved me. Like I know it sounds so crazy, but you're actually ridding of benzos through your body. You pass, I don't know if you knew this or not, but when you, especially nicotine, everything passes through your bladder. So water really keeps your body hydrated, not dehydrated, hydrated. Also, it's awesome for your body because it keeps your body going and your brain and everything sharp. But water is really a big essential through the benzo withdrawal process. And like I said, with nicotine, I didn't think when someone told me water and exercise, like I'm like, okay, like you want me to go out there and drink water and then exercise when I feel completely horrible. And they were not lying. The minute I started exercising, like I didn't think about smoking. I was increasing my lung capacity. I was increasing my mind. My body was more alert and I felt really good. I'm not saying like it wasn't hard to quit smoking because it's next to this one of the harder things I've had to do. But at the same time, like I could see where people were saying, because when you're burning energy and burning the toxins out of your body, like you feel better. I even felt better just exercising, being a stay-at-home mom, because I don't get a lot of exercise. So that is definitely, something that I think is amazing and that, everybody should focus on. But yeah, so don't with the alcohol, definitely with the water, exercise. I'm sorry, I had benzo brain, so I'm kind of all over the place. I can actually leave a list in the down bar if it does help you guys. Maybe just give you a little direction. Again, I'm not a professional. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I do know a lot about the mental health. I've been through it most of my life, most of my daughters. So, but again, it's like, just a lot of things I've noticed made things worse. So, and it's not just from my experience, but from anybody I've ever talked to in groups. So yeah, definitely like no alcohol, eating better is definitely a do. Tons of water is definitely a do. I think I'm trying to think of some other things that, my brain is so bad. Honestly, that's one thing that really saddens me. Like, I don't remember yesterday. It's so bad. Like, I don't remember maybe what I ate, but that's about it. So like my short term, I can definitely tell what people are saying. It's been like messed with horribly. I never thought it would be at 38. Like you've got those moments where you don't remember, but not to the extent where I'll be in a conversation and I really don't know where it is I left off and I'm struggling to pull myself back and I don't remember. So, like I said, but yeah, so those things, like I said, just from experience and just from like, other people, definitely, I do know that I will say I limit myself in support groups. I do want to help others, but I know that I'm not fully healed. I'm not even a third of the way to where I need to be. So sometimes, when you go into support groups, they can be scary. People have really horrible stories. They need to vent. They're angry. They feel like giving up. They want to be done. They want to be done and they want their life over. And at that moment, that's how it's feeling. So if you're not healed or you're not even partially stable to where you need to be, it can be very depressing. It can make you feel really uncomfortable. You start to feel like I did at one point where there's no helping me. There's no saving me. I'm stuck on this med. I'm not going to be able to be healed. I don't know if I repeated that. I'm sorry. But so yeah, like it's good, but you have to limit yourself. Just because there are so many different people. Benzos, I do feel like affect people. And maybe I'm wrong and I may get a lot of hate for this, but I really feel like benzos tend to take people the same way. I'm not saying that we all don't feel maybe something more severe than the other, but there was actually a girl, I'm not going to mention a name, but she was in the group. She had only been on benzos for 2 months, literally 2 months. And I think it was Ativan, which I'm on. So she actually took her a year to taper. And it took her another year to recover. And she's somebody like who just isn't on meds. So 2 months of being on Ativan, and she's where I am right now. Well, actually, I should say she's recovered now, but like I'm saying, I'm where she was, and I've been on them almost 3 years, and I'm feeling every single thing that she's feeling. So most of us do feel the same stuff. But like I said, when you're in these support groups, you want to be supportive to everybody. But I think sometimes it can make you lose focus. It can bring in negativity. I know for me, negativity tends to make my anxiety start to increase and make me feel more depressed than I would normally be. So I have to kind of limit myself on how long I'm in the support groups, who I speak to, what I read, and what I don't. And it's not that I don't care about people. I wish I could save everybody from being on a benzo. Like, I really wish that I could just like stop knowing, like in my head right now, that somebody's writing a prescription, that I could just stop them and show them and teach them what I know now, but I can't. So like I said, you have to really go into it with, use a support group to your advantage, stay out of it when needed, use it, resourcefully. But at the same time, remember, everybody's struggling and everybody's feeling a different way as far as maybe negativity. They've given up. They don't want to continue this path. They don't want to continue staying and tapering and doing what they're doing. And a lot of us have to reassure them it's a temporary feeling. It's going to go away. But at the same time, like I said, it can be triggering. When I first started this, and it was only 4 weeks ago, I really did feel like the support group was helpful about my tapering, but I really also felt that it was driving my anxiety up, because the fact that it was just overwhelming at times, because I was already overwhelmed, or I was having a really, really bad day. And the support group for me was like, gosh, like it just made me feel really down. So again, do use it to your advantage, but don't over obsess in it and get too far into it to where you're in the support group all day long, because it's kind of like, you watching negative videos all day. You're not going to be in a very great mood. You're not going to want to persevere. You're not going to, and it's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's just the way it is. But like I said, so that being said, kind of limit yourself. But try to eat well. I've noticed skipping meals, things in that nature. My blood sugar is all over the place. I don't feel good. When I eat good, I sleep good. That does help some, because again, my symptoms anyhow, having anxiety, were always worse when I wasn't getting sleep and a lot of stress. So, try to cut back the stress. Sleep well, eat well, drink a lot of fluids, especially water, avoid caffeine, avoid alcohol. You can drink caffeine, but like I said, I've cut way back on the amount I'm having and the type of coffee that I drink now. So those things. The other thing is, I think, just find really supportive people that really care about you. Nobody may fully understand what it is that you're going through. My family doesn't, but they are very supportive. I can call my mom at any time and just kind of totally vent to her. She doesn't understand. She does, but she doesn't. But keep those people close. Self-talk, I'm not going to lie. I've sat here many times thinking I was going to die, that my heart was going to explode out of my chest, that I wasn't going to make it, and just bringing my mind to a place that I feel safe. Like I actually have a dream of living on a farm. I know it sounds so crazy, but just with animals and freedom and being able to ride horses and just living like the non-dramatic life, no expensive clothes or nothing like that, but just horses and just beauty of of nature and things of that nature. So what I do is I go in my mind and think about a place that, a house, and I really take my mind off of what's going on. And I will be real, it sounds so far-fetched, but it does work. Your brain right now is just going through crazy things because it's been being controlled by something. You're giving it less of what it's used to. It's breaking down like a car would without an oil change and without fuel, and your body just doesn't know what to do. So again, I do believe in that. I am listening to podcasts. If you download, and I'll put it in the down bar, I think I don't want to say Comcast. That sounds more like an internet service, but it sounds like that. I think it's called Cast. It's actually a podcast. Also, there's a free podcast app in the Android store. I don't know about the Apple store. I listen to anti-anxiety podcasts. They really help me because they're uplifting, they're positive. They also, not only that, they teach you how to deal with what you're going through, what your body's actually going through. So the more you understand your body, the better control you have over it. So those are some positive do's. Like I said, at nighttime, honestly, I sleep with, I really love Enigma. They're actually I don't know if you want to say like American native type music, but it's not just that. It's very soothing. I used to go to sleep with like TV or listening to things like that on my apps, but I noticed my nightmares are pretty bad since this medicine. So when I would go to sleep, it's so weird. I don't think I was fully sleeping because I would actually kind of like dream about what was going on in the TV show or movie that I was watching, which was kind of weird, but the dreams were so vivid that they kind of scared me. So I started turning that off and listening to soothing. I'll get a little bit of dreams, but I don't think they've been as extreme as they were. So that's perfect. And that's really helped me a lot. So like I said, I mean, these tips honestly they take work because you do have to use them as coping skills. But for me, like I said, yes, I'm having waves all day long, and you may not be able to tell by looking at me. I try to teach my daughter this. Don't look and judge on the outside of somebody just because they're wearing makeup or they've got it together. I'm sorry. Because the outside can hide so much what's going on deep inside. And, even me, people will be like, oh, wow, I would never known that you had anxiety or, this or that. But people don't understand is right now, like I'm actually having a wave. I'm feeling my heart racing. I'm feeling like my oxygen is being cut off. I feel like my heart is in my chest cavity it's too big for my chest cavity, so it's going to explode. I can feel my pulse, increasing and stuff like that, but I have to keep on believing that there's a way out of this. I have to keep on mind controlling, taking over my mind back when it's going into negative mode, because that really can set you in a place that's dark. I'm just trying to make these videos honestly because I know that so many have helped me in the short time that I've been in this support group. And I don't think, to be real, that I would be where I am today if it wasn't for everybody in the Benzodiazepine recovery group on Facebook. I actually thought I was, like I've mentioned this before, thought I was invincible. And what I did was I'm like, I feel great after 4 days. I mean, this pill's nothing. I don't know what, not saying what they were talking about, but it hit me. I'm not even kidding. I felt like I was in a coma. I felt like I was going to have a seizure. I felt like I was lying in bed and my body, I was like an out of body experience. It was just, there was nothing. I couldn't hear anything. I actually felt like I died. I actually felt like you see those movies where people lay there, they come out of their body and they're looking around and nobody can see them. I never ever, for real, I never want to go back through that again. So if I have to taper for 3 years, going at even 3%, I'm not looking at it as time. I'm looking at it as my body is healing. It's adapting to every milliliter that I take out, giving it time to heal without doing some massive damage to my brain that's already been done. And on top of that, I am a mom of two. So, like I said before, I can't just lay in bed. I can't just lay there like a slug. And that's not even in my nature on an average day. Like I'm the mom where I'm up, cleaning and I'm, with my kids, or I'm making, we're going miniature golfing, or, I'm a pretty active mom. I'm not like an in shape mom, but I'm a pretty active mom where I like to be out doing things with my kids, because the fact that they're only young, which I've got a teen, but my son, they're only young for so long. So to think that I could be bedridden from this benzo and be like I was, like, no way. This is way better. Even if it's just a little bit, even if it's just 2 hours a day that I can have some normalcy. Like, you realize in this process, you don't take anyone for granted. Like, I'm not even kidding you. When I wake up every day, it may be where I'm waking up feeling really bad, but I do, and I say that I'm grateful that I'm here, because you don't realize when those moments where you're bedbound and you can't move and you can't do anything, and mine was not like other people's, so I give them kudos. I don't know how they lived through it, honestly, but for me, like, I can't imagine living like that. So even what little normalcy and decency that I have, and feeling a little bit good, and like last night, it may not be much, but I flat ironed my hair. I haven't been able to really, like, get in the shower and wash my hair and to really care, because I feel so bad. But like, you realize, and I don't know what this journey is about, but you realize you don't take anything for granted. So if somebody is trying to teach me a lesson, which I don't think they are, but if they are, like, it's you know what I'm saying? Like, you've done what you needed to do, because I would not take any moment for granted at all. Even waking up with the flu, I would not take for granted, because it's that bad. It is that bad, to where every bone in your body hurts. You wake up feeling like somebody has got something around your head and they're just pulling and pulling. I'm with the IBS, which right now, thank God, it's under control, but heartburn, light bothers my eyes. Sometimes I'll wake up from naps and I can hear screeching in my ears like a chalkboard. Thoughts that are not mine, seeing visions of things that are not mine, anxiety, the racing heart, just the not being able to go out in public because you don't feel normal anymore. What is normal? You know what I'm saying? So when you have these good days, that is a do on my list. Please take advantage of them. Don't lay in bed. Get up, do something small for yourself, even if it's to read a book, to watch a positive video, to vacuum your house, something. But don't take those moments that you feel decent for granted, because, again, we don't know at the end of taper, at least I don't, where I'm going to be at that point. But that is definitely a don't. Don't take it for granted, but do get up and do things when you can, because you do feel so much better as far as than rather being bedbound. Which I feel like just makes it worse, because it causes more depression, causes you to be more in a funk, as I tell my daughter, not doing things, and I get it. But when you're feeling a little bit better, or just a little bit of a ray of hope, get up and act on it. Don't throw that moment away, because, again, we all know as benzo people, we don't get many of those days or many of those hours, let alone minutes. So like I said, that is definitely a do. Like I said, my brain right now is a little all over the place. I should have wrote a list. I never have to do that. But lately, it's just, everything is just like falling through the cracks. And I don't remember. Some days it's so sad, but it's like, thank God I have timers, which my phone timer is going off now for my 3 o'clock dose. But like, I wouldn't remember to take my meds, just because everything is going backwards in my mind. So... But like I said, I don't know how much this video helps, but again, just as a quick overview, don't eat the sugary foods that make you feel sick anyhow, avoid a lot of caffeine, do not drink alcohol. I can't stress it enough. I understand that, you want things, you want to feel a little good and like that, but it'll give you a little bit of a high for a while, and you're going to feel more depressed than you should be. So that's not good anyhow. And who needs another addiction on top of another, which again, benzos are, honestly, I can say probably the worst thing in the world. But, you know, try to get rest, try to exercise when you can, get out when you can. The more I feel like you stay home, the more you refuse to go out, and that just causes even more anxiety. That's actually where mine started. So I don't recommend staying home all the time, even if you can sit outside with a cup of coffee or, you know, a Powerade or some water and just be outside and change the scenery other than where you're used to staying all day. That's perfect. Reach out to people when you can, you know, avoid going in support groups too much, you know, use them when you can, stay away when you don't feel like you're in the right state of mind to be dealing with all that stuff. It can be overwhelming. You know, podcasts for real, like look up Geraldine Burns. She only has 3 podcasts. I want to say 3 so far. She's dealing with some things anyhow, but she did put 3 up, and I think they're amazing if you go listen to them. Again, just type in Geraldine Burns, and I can put it in the down bar and actually give you the name of her podcast. But there are 3. There are 3 really good audios. Like I said, you know, like the do's and don'ts. Some of the things I'm giving you, but she does, you know, she speaks in more detail than I am actually doing right now. Like I said, I'm just really exhausted. I've been up since 7 o'clock for my first dose, so my brain is just overly exhausted. But yeah, podcast, mind control. There's so many motivational videos on YouTube. Try to stay away from the darker ones. You know, it's great to hear everybody's story when you're where you need to be. But if you're not and you're feeling down about yourself, find something that's going to reverse the effect, not keep you down when you need to be feeling up instead of down. So, if I think of anything else, I'll put it in the down bar. But if you guys can think of anything, you know, that maybe you want me to speak on that I haven't, I would be happy to answer any, you know, emails or anything like that. I've actually added my email to my YouTube channel. You know, I want to help anybody as much as I can. Again, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not, you know, a medical doctor, but going through what I've been through and seeing what I've seen and the research that I've done and how sick I've been for so long and knowing how the pharmaceutical has done what they've done to us, you know, I much rather put a video out there like everybody else to help that next person in line because, you know, maybe we can catch it before you're on it 3 years, 2 years, a year, even 6 months is too long. So, I'm just merely trying to put videos out for support and let you guys all know you're not alone. I wake up feeling just like you do, feeling like my arms are too heavy to lift, my legs are too heavy to walk. You know, my hearing is less than pleasurable with the noises that I'm hearing and the stabbing in my brain and my back and everything else going on. So you're not alone. Don't ever think you are. And again, if you do feel suicidal, please call the National Suicide Hotline. Don't do this alone. Find people who will be more than supportive to be there for you and to reassure you that you're going to make it through this. There have been so many success stories. Don't give up. You are not alone. Don't give up because so many of us out there that have made amazing videos are keeping me going and hopeful that I will be there one day. It doesn't matter. It's 3 years from now. The whole point isn't how we get there. It's that we get there. So again, don't taper fast. Don't cold turkey thinking, you know, you can just get rid of these symptoms quicker. These are things that can last with us for a long time to where we have to just, our mind has to heal out of them. So don't give yourself more damage than you already have done. So I guess until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.